Well, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight I'm going to be working on the shuttle bay. I've got it all assembled. I got the turbo shafts down in there. I got it all glued in together. Now what I'm going to do tonight is work on putting lighting to shine down into the shuttle bay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my LED strip tape, solder together two pieces, and I'm going to solder a piece, put a piece here and a piece here to light up the shuttle bay. And I've already tested it out just by putting the power supply on it, and it looks real nice. And I'm going to be holding it down with foil tape instead of glue because there's just not enough room. There's too much of a gap and the tape's not wide enough to glue down in there, so that foil tape will hold real well. But before we do, I'm going to kind of touch up on what I've done. As you can see, I've put it all together, primed it, light blocked it on the inside, and I've sanded it down to where it's real nice and smooth. So what I'm going to do is put a coat of white paint in here to let the light bounce around, and then I'm going to put a row of LED strip tape down inside right there, so you can see it's where the light will light up. You know, the LED strip tape will light up the interior and the sides of the cargo bay and part of the arboretum. So it's going to look real nice when that's done. And then I've still got to and I'm also got there's a modification that's going to have to be done. For those of you who watch TrekWorks, you know what I'm fixing to tell you about the lights on the shine up on the pylon. This model kit milled it to where the holes are going the wrong way. So what we're going to have to do is re-drill the hole where it faces up where the pylon. And let me zoom in to kind of show you this hole right here that I'm talking about. Is shining the wrong way, so when we put the light in there, if we put the light in there as it is, the light would be shining off just out into nowhere. So we need to re-drill the hole this direction to where it will shine up the pylon real nice. And we're going to be doing that, and the same thing with the dorsal area. These lights right here are going to have to be kind of redirected a little bit. Then I'm going to have to drill my hole for where my wire comes down through the top, and I'm going to prime this and light block it and get it ready to go. And we should be getting ready to put the whole assembly together. I've got to finish up on the arboretum top, but right now let's get back over to where I'm working on the lights for the LED strip tape. So what I'm going to do is put this in my helping hands here. And also wanted to make mention too, I made a mistake in the last video on the lighting for the officers lounge. I called it tertiary lighting, and that's wrong. That's for paint colors and whatnot. What I meant to say was ambient lighting. I've got the little bit later on after this here toward the end of the video, I'm going to show you. I put the saucer together, got everything together, and I'll put the lighting on it, the power supply on it to light it up to kind of show you what the lights are going to look like when on there. And it looks real nice. I got some putty work they're going to have to do around it, so I'll kind of show you, go through that a little bit. But for now, let's work on this. And I've already tinned my LED strip tape, and I've already put drops of solder on there. So one good thing about this magnet wire is if you have a hot enough soldering iron, you don't have to strip it. You can just put it in, you can just solder it, and once the solder dries or cools off, it will tin the wire for you, so you don't have to worry about stripping off the ends of the wire. I found that out. I was watching a video of Boyd over at TrekWorks and I was kind of looking for tips on how to do that to kind of cut time down, because what I was doing was using a Dremel to sand down the ends of it, and I was looking for a faster and better way, and I just happened to catch him on one of his later builds, or back in 2014, and he suggested to do that, put some solder on the soldering iron and touch it to where you got to go, and the hot solder will pull the enameling away. So what I'm gonna do is take my soldering iron, back out a little bit to kind of see what I'm doing here. Take my solder and touch the tip of it and get some solder on the tip. Make sure you always want to clean your tips in between soldering. So all you got to do now is, if you got a good enough soldering iron, all you have to do, you should just be able to touch. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of solder to that. Hopefully that should catch. If not, we'll have to take it apart and redo it. I'm going to heat up these ends just a little bit on the, kind of get rid of some of that enameling. I'll do the same thing with that one. Put just a little bit of fresh solder down on that. And it broke loose, so what I'm going to do is reheat it. There we go. Now, the way to do that, to test it, to make sure we have a good connection, is to take it and test it and put my power supply to it. Hopefully we'll get a connection light on both of them. Just like that. So now that I know that that's working, I can take this, make sure my tips aren't touching, and I can put this up on the top of the shuttle bay. I mean, that's one thing I like about this magnet wire, is you can mold it to where you need it to be, and it'll stay right down in there. So what I'm gonna do now is get a small piece of foil tape, cut it down in half, cut it down in size a little bit. And the one thing about this foil tape is it's very sticky, so you have to make sure you get it down in there just right. Before I do that, I'm actually gonna undo the solder that's on these real quick. Oh, they're not sticking up so much. And then I'm just going to lay it right down over top. This way it also acts as a light blocker. So I'm going to do the same thing on the top up here. Actually, before I do that, get ahead of myself, I need to solder on some wire to go out to the power supply. Maybe I have enough. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. That way I could get my power supply out. And you might want to check into getting one of these mats at Walmart or at any craft store. This also helps. This is for like quilting and crocheting and stuff, and I like it because it has inches on here, and it helps me where I can lay out my wire. And it'll also help measure out, you know, wire, stuff like that, for when you're putting wire in. You don't want to really spend the time to measure it out and make a mess. Apparently I'm going to have to put some more solder on that. Alright, let's touch this again. Let that cool. Apparently I'm going to have to do this the hard way. I'll tin this little area right here because I'm losing solder. And sometimes you may have to put strip it. Yep, I'm going to have to strip that one. I'm going to take my Dremel. Once I get this lighted up, I'll show you. It'll look very nice. I've already tested it out, and it looks very nice. Nice, good lighting down in there. Alright. Add a little more solder back to this. Alright. Let's try this again. Go. I'm going to tin the end of this. I may just go ahead and clean it off. Sometimes it may be better to, sometimes you can get it to work, sometimes you can't. That looks good and clean. Alright, both ends look good and clean. So now I'm going to attach it with some solder. Alright, well, that was it for now. Alright, now let's test it. Alright, Now we've got power, so what we can do is take another little piece of foil tape. Sorry about that, dropped my scissors. And cut it in half. Or cut it down to size here. Might need to do a little more. That's a little wide, so. Alright. Good enough. Peel this tape apart. Put my tweezers here to Alright. Alright, now, clean up my mess here a little bit. Now let's hook these back up, and I'll show you what I mean by light blocked. This foil tape will light block. It does a really good job. Now you can see there's no light coming out the top from where these lights are. But now, let's see if I can turn this around to where you can look down in there. And let me zoom in if the camera may not. Yeah, camera's gonna wash it out, but it's nice and bright. You look down in there. Once you see it in real life, it looks really pretty. It looks really nice and bright and lit up. So I'm pleased with that. Now that's ready to go into the secondary hole. That's ready to slide into the secondary hole. And what I'm telling you about is I was telling you that it's going to be very difficult to get this down in here. I mean, you'd have to really do a lot of work to get it down in here. So what you're going to have to do, unfortunately, is to like I said before, is to cut this loose down here, right here, about just a little bit lower, just a little bit, maybe about an inch or so. That way it'll slide right in. You don't really need much, probably about a ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch, something like that, to where it'll slide right down inside there, and it'll look nice. So now what I've got to do now is I'm going to prime and light block the outsides of these and the bottom. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to be putting those landing bay lights. I'm going to be putting these landing bay lights in right here on either side. So I've got to put the lights in down. I'm going to be using some LED lights to go in here. I'm going to use 4 on each side and all the way to the top. So it's about 2 inches worth of light right there that's got to go in. So I've got to get those just right all the way across, so that way when it flashes, it'll flash about like that. So now I was going to show you, now that that's done, I was going to show you the saucer section that I put together. Let me turn my power source back on. back out a little bit so you can see. Yeah, as you know, it right now looks like a hot mess because everything's coming out of the saucer, and I still got to do some connections and resolder everything together to get it looking good. And then I've got to once I get the neck, I got to go get some a piece of tubing to go down into in through the net to where it'll keep everything bundled up together and not running loose and clouding the windows and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do for you is find the main power, the bridge, it's the floodlights and planetary dome, navigational lights, floodlights for the top. Alright, I believe we have it right here. Here's the two halves, saucer halves, and I don't know if you can see. Let me turn this light off a little bit to where you can see the. Let me get my flashlight here and turn the main light off so that way you can see it a little bit better. Alright, I'll just turn it around. Now you can see down in there the lights are showing real pretty and nice, and I'll zoom in so you can see the lights coming up from the bottom side on this one. On the bottom saucer, I put in 2 rows of lights on here to where it shines up back up to the bridge, and you can see it shines through real pretty and nice and bright. Of course, right there's going to be a piece going in right there, but you can see it has a real nice bright light coming through the top. And then if I can turn this over without crossing my wires here, you can see the lights coming in through the BC deck, and you can see the light coming in through the sides here, so it's shining up. And then you can see the ambient lighting I've got in here. The camera washes the light out a little bit, but you can see it real pretty, and it shows through real nice without overdoing it. And you can see the screen in the back real nice. So this is going to turn out real nice. We're just going to let the saucer dry a little bit more before I take it apart. And we got two. I'm going to back out so you can see what I'm talking about. Around the bottom half of the edge here, all the way around, we're going to be taping off and putting some squadron putty on there to close up those seams to make it all look one real nice one piece. And then we're going to sand it, and then I've got to put a coat of white paint on here, and we should be good to go there. We got to when we do the sanding for the putty for the lights, we're going to lose the RCS thruster portholes. So what I'm going to do there is just re-drill those out once we get that set. So it's going to look good. I'm getting excited. Turn the lights back on. Getting excited about that. Getting it ready to go. The next couple of days, I'm going to be finishing up the secondary hull, getting it put together, get the arboretum put together and set down in there to where it will light up real nice. I'm gonna try to see about putting maybe a three strip lighting down in here to where it will light the planetary sensor, or the arboretum, where it'll light up nice and bright. So I'm still going to try to work on that and play with the lighting on that and see if I can get it together without it being too bright. So thanks again for joining, and thanks again for all the subscribers and viewers. We're coming up close on to 70 views now total across the channel. I'm excited, and like I said, I'm going to be starting some other projects soon. Got a B19 Memphis bell that I'm going to be putting together. I'm going to be finishing up on a couple of projects that I've been working on. I've got another, probably a 1/800 scale Enterprise refit. The Enterprise that I'm doing, it's an older model from Star Trek 5, the Final Frontier. Get that finished and put together, and I've got a couple of small 1/1400 scale Enterprises D, and then the original series. I got to finish them up and get them out and displayed, so I'm looking forward to that. The Mustang that I was telling you about that I was working on, the chassis was broke, so I'm gonna have to get another one and work on it. So sorry about that, folks. But anyway, if you have any tips, suggestions, please don't hesitate to email me at jdemko80@gmail.com. I'm open to suggestions for that. Any suggestions, tips, helpful hints, anything like that. Please feel free to give me a holler, shout out. So again, thank you, and have a very good night. Bye bye.